Welcome to this look at a new mod map to Farming Simulator 22 with me, MrSealyp. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on Ravenport 22. This is a new mod map to Farming Simulator 22. It's been ported over by celobuki. It's 821.71 megabytes to download. I'm excited about this one because this is the map that started it all on FS19. This was the new map. And what came with this new map and came with FS19 were all the new features. Some of the more notable ones being we had cotton for the first time with cotton harvesters. We had landscaping, which we hadn't had before on console. And I remember doing landscaping on here, doing loads of cotton, So this is that map that until the first mod map started coming out, you were playing on because it was new. So I was intrigued to come on here and see. This has got some additional features on it that celobuki has added on, although not as many as on some of celobuki's maps, like Alma and maps like that, where I've got some of the features, but not all of them. There are no required mods to download. Contracts are available. There are no custom crops, which surprised me. The map then looks like this. Very familiar. Not much has changed. I'm trying to think. I think the railway has changed. The railway used to come, I'm sure it used to come in here and follow this down and round. Or was it a complete loop? I'm trying to remember if it was a complete loop. Anyway, regardless of that, the train now comes in here, sweeps round, goes all the way around, it comes back up the side, comes out, and it goes off to Alma. Just saying about Alma. It goes off to Alma. As far as what we start with on New Farmer, we start down here with the main farm, plot 38, plot 46, and bit of 47 and plot 54. The farm is kind of split. We've got an animal pen there, we've got two animal pens there. Fuel prices actually are pretty good across the board, not too bad. And apart from the biogas plant, which you buy that separately and you get the land, you can buy pretty much all the plots apart from the very outside edge you can't buy. But you can buy all the plots up to it. A few things have changed. I'm pretty sure in the previous version up here there was an industrial park that had a couple of sell points. Again, I might be misremembering. It's such a long time ago now. That's what, 6 years since the game released, isn't it? We're into our third year of FS22. There were 3 years in FS19. So yeah, that's terrifying. That really is terrifying. So yeah, like I say, plot prices, not too bad at all. What's that one there? 215. We've got some small ones. Plots around the housing area down here as well. So we're going to have a whiz round and have a look. There are 20 collectibles. We start, like I say, down here at the main farm. The slot count is 1,439, and you start with all the buildings you see, the silo there, and you start with the equipment and machinery. On farm management, start from scratch. The slot drops from 1,439 down to 1,186, and you don't start with any of the equipment and machinery, and you don't start with any of the buildings, and it will look like this. So there you go. Under build mode, we'll go into there because we've got a few bits to look at. Under sheds, we've got a couple of sheds there. Farm garage and barn. Under silos, right on the end, we've got one silo, that's the farm silo, 2 million litres, that's the standard crop types, including dried corn, because we do have a corn dry on the map. So there are some features from some of celobuki's other maps, but that's 2 million litres standard crop type. Then we've got under container, we've got these. So we've got fertiliser buy point, herbicide buy point, lime station, liquid fertiliser buy point. Now, I'll be honest, I don't think I found any of those on the map. So I'm assuming they're not out there, but you can place them, purchase them, should you wish. Under tools, we didn't have anything, I don't think. No, farmhouses, we had one. There we go. Then we go to factories. Was it under factories? There we go. So just like Alma's my frame of reference because I'm playing on. We've got the juice factory and we've got a fermenting silo. So the juice factory also requires greenhouses, which we're going to get to in a minute. I don't think we had anything on selling points, but under greenhouses we do have added in the greenhouse fruits, which does pineapple, apple, lemon and orange. And then we've got our standard, I say standard greenhouses. These will do your tomatoes, your lettuce, your strawberries and pumpkin. And we've got 3 of those, a small, medium and a large in those. Nothing under orchards, nothing under generators. Under animals, we've got cows. So we've got a cow barn there on the end, which will hold 150. There was nothing under, it was horses. There we go. Horse stable will hold 16. No pigs, but sheep, I think it was. Yep, sheep barn there will hold 300. Nothing under chickens. Right, and then we move on to, from there, it was under decoration. Others, we've got 2 flags. We've got the American flagpole and we've got the Bosnian flagpole, which I think is where celobuki is from. I'm assuming that's why that's on there. And then landscaping, we've got a few extra painting textures. If I scroll through these, we have got quite a few here. Whole load of painting textures. Nothing under trees and plants. So that's everything under build mode. We got there. Right, start equipment and machinery. We've got a John Deere, we've got a weight, we've got a seeder. It's all fairly standard generic stuff. Cultivator, second tractor. Don't often start with case, especially Maxims, but it's normally fence or John Deere's, that kind of thing. Weight on there, we've got a round baler as well. We've got another tractor over there with a trailer. Like I said, this is a standard crop type, 2 million litre. You don't have to have augers or anything for this one. Putting in and taking out is done just here, which makes life a little bit easier. If we come down the hill, we've got our farmhouse just here. And something I noticed almost immediately is, I don't know if it's for the better or not. Again, it's that nostalgia thing, isn't it? Has the map changed enough? It's got a lot of the new features on, some of the new productions, that kind of thing. It seems a lot more sparse. There seems to be less vegetation, less trees than I remember. But again, I could be misremembering. It feels a lot more open. Not that that's a bad thing. It makes life a lot easier for getting stuff around, you know. But we can go into the farmhouse. Sleep trigger and wardrobe. Sleep trigger and wardrobe trigger are just in here. So we do have our farmhouse. Come out there. Now these buildings are, they're interesting because they are just placeables. They're not productions. They're nothing like that. And as you've already seen in the build mode, we've only got 2 things under sheds. But if I go to demolish, and like I said, on farm management start from scratch, you don't have any of these buildings. So these can be removed. And that one says, do you want to sell farm storage? And I thought, farm storage? Am I missing something? It's just a building. But it's not. These aren't replaceable, so if you do remove them on New Farmer, they're not in the build mode to put back again, so just be aware of that. So we've got a couple of kind of outbuildings, outliers, so to speak, down to the waterfall. If I remember correctly, in the previous version, you started up on the little ridge, didn't you? Overlooking the waterfall, and you walked down to the thing. Yeah, that was, if I remember. Ah, happy days. These buildings are actually really nicely made, nicely detailed. We've got a barn over here. Harvester header. We've got some barn space. Shed lights, if you want them. This is very reminiscent of the barn on Lone Oak, or a couple of barns on Lone Oak had that kind of, I suppose it's that red barn look, isn't it? Our chicken pen is just here for our 500 chickens. We come round the side. We've got our garage with our pickup. We shall jump in that, and we shall make our way in the world. I have also noticed, and I'm not knocking them on, I'm doing a map tour, I'm doing a map review, that's the point. Driving around, especially when we get to some of the rocky areas, the occlusion mapping, the thing that things don't render in until you get to them. So all the stuff that's over and away that you can't see isn't there. It's not rendered until you come towards it. Then it renders. I found that it seems to be quite slow to render. So a lot of the rock textures, when I was getting up close to them or driving towards them, looked very smooth and rounded off. And then as you got closer, I mean a lot closer, they kind of came into a bit more focus. I'm just like I say, just putting it out there. So the second part of the farm, there is a track that runs up from the farm where we just were sort of round the back, so to speak. But it's funny because as I'm driving round, I'm thinking about all the various different things we did. There used to be a junkyard up here. I'm sure it was a junkyard, wasn't it? But anyway, this is where the rest of the farm is. If we go to the map like that, I've driven along the road and I've come up here, but there are tracks and stuff that run up from the back of the farm, so you don't have to go onto the main road. You can come up to the rest of your farm up the back way there. So we've got our sheep pen will hold 300 and our cows will do 150. This is the same as the one on Alma. I take that back. It's not. The barn is, but the pen on Alma runs down the side of the field. This is a smaller pen. So it has been adjusted and converted, but the barn is. So there we go. There's our dialogue box, feed point, and I think the wool spawns out the front there. Then our cow barn is just here. Our milk point, feed points inside, bit of storage safe. I put bales inside. In inclement weather, slurry point there. I say feed point in the middle. There's a dialogue box out the end for your 150 cows. Because I'm pretty sure, because there was the new landscaping tool, and it was kind of, oh, this is amazing, you know, because for the first time on console, you could create your own farm, you know, because we had, on FS17 we started getting mods, but it was that thing of, you could put them down, but it was just having that ability to do so much more. I'm not misremembering that, am I? We didn't get landscaping tool on 17, we got mods on 17. I'm sure that's the case. So, spinnery, just up here on our right. Many a time delivering cotton down the hill, go back to the map. I remember coming across from the fields here and then taking this track, coming down past where the animal dealer is, this track winding down with trailers of cotton to bring down here to the spinnery. A treacherous route. But it's that thing, isn't it, when you spend a long time on a map, and there is that nostalgia, that you know. But it's funny how, like I say, I haven't played it for such a long time, and then all of a sudden, all these memories come flooding back. Now, I built my farm just up on that little hillside, and I'm sure there are a lot more trees because there's a little building site just along here. So we're currently here. I'm sure I did. I built it all here, didn't I? And I did my little driveway up, and I did, yeah. Sorry, I mean, that's not relevant to you at all, but it's nice when you get that map that brings back those feelings. You know, am I going to come back on this and play it? I don't know. I don't think so. There you go, there's the building site. And the good thing as well now, because we've got so many options for placeables and sell points and that kind of thing. So this plot here, if we purchase that whole plot 41, there's a big placeables area here as well. You can stick a sell point up on here. So if you wanted to deliver, like if you put a wood sell point on there, you could do a bit of forestry and you could bring timber here to simulate finishing off the building of the building. But again, whatever you want to do. But it's nice when you're on a map and you're driving around and the creative juices start flowing. You start thinking of ideas and things you might want to try out. So, anyway, I digress ever so slightly. We have got to our left the restaurant sell point just there. Come all the way around the restaurant. Fine dining. I was going to say al dente, no, al fresco. Up here we've got the water tower sell point. I wonder why it's called that. Just here the water tower sell point. I'm going to spin around just here. But if we come down the hill, oh, I need to put some money in. Just remembered. Where am I going now? Oh no, it's after this. Come up the hill. And we've got a gas station. Now the gas station is here, and there's also a sell point for methane. Because the biogas plant, in addition to the usual production and digestate being a byproduct, methane is a byproduct as well. You can produce your methane and you can come and bring it here. Well, that's what I was going to say. Saying about the methane. When I said about build mode, if we come into our vehicle menu and we go down to mods and DLCs, click on Ravenport, we've got these in addition. So you've got the MKS-8 and the MKS-32 tankers. These have been put in because they do take propane and methane. Methane is produced at the biogas plant, which you can bring down here to the gas station and sell. Propane is needed for the corn dryer to run the corn dryer. So you bring your corn down and you put propane in it. You can dry your corn down. That can be used for other products. Again, we'll see those in a moment. And you can buy sugar pallets as well. Now, I've said this before on Map Tools. There are a lot of pallet mods out there, and there are a lot of buy anything silos out there. You can probably get sugar cheaper than that, but if you don't want to run, if you don't want to produce your own sugar, if you don't want to make sugar beet, if you don't want to do sugar cane, there are plenty. Like with any crop, you can buy anything you want to in game with all the various different mods, but that pallet is in there, so if you want to buy sugar, you can. We're at the vehicle store, vehicle shop, and again, I remember having a lot of my equipment and vehicles lined up along that wall over there. And after a few episodes, people saying, why don't you buy a plot of land and actually put a barn on? Because I was just coming back to here. I was doing contract work in and out and just using the forecourt. Anyway, that's the vehicle shop. And then the workshop trigger for the vehicle store is just around the side here. So we come back up from there. We're going to head down to the bakery. So I'm going to need some money. I might have enough at the moment, but I'll put some money in after I've done the bakery. But we swing down here. Bakery is just in front of us. Like I say, I'm going to buy this because this has got some additional features that celobuki's put in. And if you've played on Alma, or sorry, wouldn't be a map tour if you didn't drive out in front of somebody, would it? If you've played any of celobuki's maps or watched any of my videos on Alma, you'll know this already. But if we buy this for 50,000 and click on it, so we can make our bread, but we got cornbread, cake. So normally you got bread and cake at the bakery, pumpkin pie, apple pie, and sweet cornbread. So with the corn dry, you can dry down your corn and get dried corn. That will help you with the sweet cornbread recipe. The cornbread recipe is normal dried corn. We've got pumpkin pie. So in addition to the rest of the recipe, pumpkins in that greenhouse I was talking about. Apple pie, if you've got the fruit greenhouses and you're producing apples, you can make apple pie. And then with a bit of extra sugar as well, and the fine corn flour, which we'll talk about in a moment, when we get there, you can do all those extra things in the bakery, which is pretty cool. From here, we shall continue down the road, where I think we are actually going to go to the corn dry, which will be up. What I like as well is because you can buy all the plots. I like the fact that you can buy all the plots around here. So if you want to put a sleep trigger in at one of the houses, you can. On the forecourt, but these sort of open areas here, down at this sort of factory area, we have got the corn dryer. There's a lot of space around it. So if you buy this plot, you can put other sell points and other productions down if you want to. So here's our corn dryer. I can't remember how much this was. I might put some money in now. Yep. I'll put some money in. We'll buy the corn dryer and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right then, money's in. We've gone past the next hour. Let's buy the corn dryer. So click on that. There's our corn dryer. Corn in, propane in, dried corn out. So the dried corn then can be taken to the grain mill, which we'll talk about in a minute. So you can take regular corn and dried corn to the grain mill. And when you dry it down, or when you take it to the grain mill and it grinds it down, we can get regular flour from the regular things. We'll get there in a minute, I'll show you. With our regular corn, we can get corn flour, but with dried corn, we get fine corn flour. But as I said, I'll show you that in a minute when we get to the grain mill. That makes more sense. I know I've just realised I forgot to show you as I drove past. I alluded to it, but didn't actually show you. Just up along the back here, that plot 41 I was saying about, if you bought the bit that's got the building site on, there's a big old placeables area. If I go out across the grass, there's lots of big grass areas. These are sort of, oh no, it's further back than I thought. It's alright, we'll get there. There we go, look, coming up. So you've got this massive area here. So if you wanted to build a farm here, not that it's hidden, but it is part of another plot. And if you don't sort of come over this way, if you're driving around doing your sell points, stuff like that, so you've got this massive area out here. Then you could grass the whole lot, you could plough it up, make another field, do whatever you want, build a farm, anything. There's a nice big placeables area out here. Right, let's get back up onto the road. Bakery. Back down to the main road, and we'll head along towards the seafront and the pier. I think one of the other things that is missing, if anyone remembers from the original Ravenport, there was a jump that was put in. It was weird. It was inside a shipping container. If you came honking down the hill, you could jump right. It was a bizarre thing to have in there. Anyway, sugar mill to our left-hand side, just there. Continuing further along, basketball court, so you want to stop and play a bit of b-ball. Oil mill just there, and we will come to our turning and we will cross the railroad tracks. Again, all these plots can be bought, so as far as sell points, production chains, you're absolutely golden. So crossing the railway line just here, and we'll whiz up alongside. So this is our railroad silo. So this is a, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's a big storage silo, but it's also a transfer silo. So you can store your crops in here, leave them in, no problem at all. But if you want to transfer them to the train to send them off to sell, you can do it here. We've got a rent train point. I will rent the train. I don't think it will get here in time. This is going to be one of those ones. When I did this, when I whizzed around the map, oh, that has an absolute result. I was going to say it was only about 1 kilometre away. I thought I'd click on that and it would say it was going to be like 5, 6, 7 kilometres away. But as it turns out, it's coming right away. So putting into the silo is done the other side. I'll show that in a minute. Then putting into the train is done here, or unloading from the train into here, because you can stop the train. I say you can stop the train at point. I suppose you could. You can go all the way up. You could unload, load on, do whatever you want, and you could reverse it back down if you wanted to. There's nothing to stop you doing that. So here's our train. These are the carriages we get with it. Fairly standard fare. I will send that on its way when we come back around to pick up. We come around this side. We've got taking out of our silo we can do here. Putting into the silo is done there. So if you're transferring from road to train or train to road, you can. I will send that on its merry way. Assuming it's merry, I don't know. Done it again. So we're going to head down to the waterfront. We've got the beach restaurant down the bottom of the hill. Hang on a minute. I've just... oh no, it's later on. We just went past the sugar mill and the oil mill. I think I missed the grey mill, but that's way, way later. So we'll sweep down. To the pier. Now I did say there are 20 collectibles. I've only come across one. I'm not going to do a spoiler and show you where it is or anything like that, but there are 20 to collect. The one I found paid me 50 grand, which is a bit of a result. So this is the beach restaurant. Sell point just here. So it probably wouldn't hurt at this point to go back to our map. So we started off at the main farm here. We went along and up to there. Out past the spinnery, restaurant, the water tower, sell point, gas station and methane sell point, vehicle shop and bakery. Down the hill to the corn dry. We did come back to this sort of placeables area around here. Then came back up past the sugar mill, oil mill, and this is our railroad transfer silo. And then we've got our beach restaurant just there. What we're going to do is whiz back up across there and up to this section, and then we're going to head up, carrying on north. So I'm just going to head up the hill. We will bump across the tracks. Luckily there are sort of gaps in fences and stuff like that, so if you want to use sort of shortcuts you can, which you know, again, I understand on maps when map makers make it so you can only really follow sort of certain routes because it makes the map feel a lot bigger. There is something to be said for having shortcuts here and there, especially on a large map when you're out and about living. I've missed it. Ooh. No U-turns. So up the hill we come to our sawmill area. This is the carpentry just here, and our sawmill is just over here. Again, this is a really large plot, so we're here now. The plot can be bought, the whole lot. So if you want to add more in, if there's more sawmill related things you want to do, you absolutely can. There's not a massive amount of forestry. Even the areas that have got some trees, they're quite sparse. It's not thick forest or anything like that. This is our sawmill just here, and we should continue along. Up on the hill there's a windmill to visit. It's not a sell point or anything, but again I'm pretty sure that's this point here. You can buy that plot, so if you wanted to put a sell point up towards there, you probably could simulate selling to the windmill to make flour or something. I guess you could if you want to. So continuing along, I think one thing that is missing, I'm going to double check. There used to be that rickety bridge across the area here. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. Mild sneezing fit, but you don't need to know, it's fine. So here to our left we've got a rather large dairy. So the drop-off point is just there. Our managed point is just there. I'm not going to buy the dairy, it's regular, it's usual butter, cheese and chocolate. Yeah, because I'm not misremembering, am I? If we turn here and come around, there was sort of this little valley area. I'm sure the train used to run down through here. And that way. It comes in this way now. Like I said, I don't. I'm an old man. It was a long time ago. There's our Whalebones lighthouse. You can go up and visit if you want to. Continuing along, there's the industrial point just there. You see what I mean about the rocks? I mean, you'll see as we get a bit further, it's more rocky the further east we go. I keep on saying north. I'm not sure again whether or not the map has rotated. The orientation of the map has changed. Still the same map, but the orientation. It's happened quite a lot. Sometimes map makers do this. I always took this as being north, heading this direction, but it's east, so it's irrelevant. It's east on this map, but you can only get to the gates there. You can't actually go into that area. What's it called? The Mandela effect, isn't it? It's the Mandela effect. When people, I'm sure it's the Mandela effect, when you think something's happened, and you believe it 100%, despite facts, despite the fact that you suddenly think, well, hang on a minute, so you go and check. We do it all the time. And you think, oh, no, this is true, I saw this, I saw it in the news, this happened, that happened. We go and check, it's not. And it's funny how your brain does that. So, yeah, I could be misremembering. Now, on the map, bottom left, now you can see, it's showing a track running up there, but there's not actually a track on the ground. Again, could be a remnant from the old map. But we'll sweep up the track to here. So we are now at the Grain Elevator West sell point. That's not a silo, it's not storage. Is that floating lights there? What is here? Looks like the light poles are missing or the come off the side of the building. Curious. Didn't notice that when I whizzed round. So Grain Elevator West. Now I'm going to take a bit of a route around because we can go up and over the dam. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to go over the dam. We're going to drive past and we're going to see it. If we go up that way and turn right, you can go over the dam. If we go this way and round, we can drive across the bridge and look out towards it. Oh, actually might be on the railway bridge. It is the railway bridge I'm thinking of. Okay. It does look really, really picturesque. It's amazing. I think I'm going to take a detour. I just want to show you the dam. Just want, you know, when you have features on a map and you're doing a map tour, that's part of the map tour. I normally get in all the sell points, farms, all that kind of stuff, but features, things that stand out. So I'm just going to hop out. I'm going to walk out. I probably shouldn't do this. It's a very stand by me moment. We'll go out across the bridge and have a look out across the dam. I'm not going to jump up on the railing because I will fall. Because I'm an should I? Because I'm an idiot. Oh, there you go. It's got the dam there. Again, that's all part of land that can be purchased. So if you want to put a sell point out in the dam, and the great thing about a lot of sell points is you can rename them. So you can click on them, rename it, and you can call it whatever you want, you know? So if you want it something related to the dam, you can. If not, you don't. But again, it's getting, your mind starts going. You think, oh, you know what? That'd be quite cool. You see what I mean, though, a little bit with the rocks? To our left, they look fine. And as I'm driving along, some of them look really, really smooth until you get right up on top of them. It's a minor thing, but it's something that drew my eye. So, heading along here, we come to... This is the central grain elevator. Whoa. And this is your grain mill. So when I said about it earlier on when we were at the corn dryer, let's put it in here, and we shall purchase it. I was asked on the video the other day, how am I turning my torch on? R1, circle on PlayStation controller, turn your torch on. I know I always say to people, have the help menu out open top left, and it will show you all your controls. So if I do L1, R1, L1, R1, unless you're in a vehicle, it doesn't actually say under R1, it doesn't say torch. It doesn't give you an option, it doesn't tell you what that is. So if you're new to the game, yeah, R1 and circle, torch. Because you might need it sometimes. Let's hop up on here. Missed. Buy production for 80 grand and click on that, and there you will see. So we can do wheat flour, barley flour, oat flour and sorghum flour. That will give you, coming out, your regular flour, which you can use, send to the bakery, make bread and some of the other recipes, that's fine. Corn flour just requires corn coming in, and then fine corn flour requires dried corn. So those are the two separate options, and then depending on what recipe you're going to be making will depend on what you need. For doing regular cornbread, you just need corn flour. For doing the sweet cornbread, you need fine corn flour and sugar. So this is where you can produce those items at the central grain elevator. So from here, we'll whiz out towards the biogas plant, which is just along here. Oh, the hours spent doing contracts on these fields. Because FS19 as well was the first time you could buy fields and sell them back. That's when field flipping became a thing. Someone tipped me the wink and said, oh, did you know you could do this? And it was one of those things we'd got so used to, you saved up your money, you bought a field and you owned it. That was it. You just, you know, if you haven't been playing that long, you won't remember that. Back in the day, when I were a lad. And that was the thing, you bought a field, you owned it. So on FS19, you could buy a field and you could sell it again. If you got tired of it, if it was too big, if it was ever. And that's when people started buying fields that had a crop ready to harvest. They would harvest the field and then sell the field back, which was called field flipping. A little bit dicey, and this was one of the first maps I ever did it on. I probably shouldn't have done. Anyway, biogas plant is just here now. Like I said, you can't buy the land on its own. The biogas plant is only 300,000, if I recall correctly. Please tell me. Yeah, 300,000. Buy that. So as I said, incoming products, we've got our silage, slurry, manure, sugar beet cut, and then our outgoing products, rather than just digestate, we have got methane as well. What we should find now, I hope this has worked. We are now here. There you go. So now we own the land. So we couldn't buy it on its own, but when you spend 300,000, it's a big plot of land as well, with some stuff around it. You get the whole plot of land, plus you get the biogas plant and the ability to make methane as well. Large silage clamps just there as well. Actually, I don't think we can sell the silage clamps. Just double check that. Do you want to sell? So you can sell the entire biogas plant. I wonder if it removes it. Should I try it? It's a bit of a risky. It does. Do you want to sell the BJ bunker as well? Okay. It does leave a bit of a crater, so you'd have to landscape that over. But if you don't want the biogas plant that makes methane, you can sell it and put your own biogas plant on it. Or if you don't want a biogas plant at all, you can sell it and build your farm here. That's pretty cool that you can. I'm sure it said in the description you can sell all of the stuff on there. So you can kind of pick and choose what you do where. I do like the ability to make methane. I think that's a pretty cool feature. You can make pretty good money depending on the price. So we come along here to this crossroads. As I said, there's a little track that runs down there. There's the railroad bridge just there, and the little track winds down beneath the railroad bridge and out towards the spinnery, which we were just talking about. If we go around the front of the animal dealer, we've got a bale sell point, which is often just an animal dealer sell point, but this one is actually on the map as bale sell point. So you've got bale sell point here, and then the animal dealer is just around the back. So I can walk through to it, but you would normally drive around the back to it. So we'll walk through, or run, jog, shuffle, what I normally do. So drive around the back, and our animal dealer point is just here around the back of the building, which is very familiar. So like I say, there's a lot of stuff on here that stayed the same, feels very familiar, very nostalgic, and then a fair amount of it has changed. I'm trying to decide in my head whether it's, I feel personally, whether it's for the better or not. Like I said, I just think it just feels a bit more sparse. I don't know. I said that earlier, and I'm trying to pinpoint what it is that I think it's just maybe a lack of trees, stuff like that. I think some of these trackways may be a bit wide. I don't know what it is. It just seems more open. Anywho, we've just done that. This is Railroad Silo East, so we've got another transfer silo here into the silo inside the building, taking out of the silo done here if you're on the road. Once you've transferred into the silo, you can transfer out to the train, and the train can take it, well, whichever direction you want it to go. If you want to sell it, you want to keep going that way and out towards Alma. Cross over the railroad. Round to here, we have got this area here. And this. So, I don't know, when was the last time I showed you where we were? We did the dairy, sawmills, dairy, then we went out round there, past the whalebone, up there. There's a brilliant pub actually. I go to my brother out Colchester way called the Whalebone. Lovely. If you're ever out that way, try and find it. Sorry. Sidetrack much. And then we went up past here. That was a little bit where I said the track's shown on the map, but it's not. It wasn't actually there. There's the outlet to Alma. We drove across there, but then I came back across so we could have a look at the dam. Out there to the grain mill, straight across the biogas plant, animal dealer, and we are now. Sorry, that was the railroad silo east. We're now here. Plot 57, 123,239. You get all that land as well, but with it you do get a horse ranch for 16 horses just here. Feed triggers, etc. inside. This can be removed as well if you don't want to do horses. You want to get rid of it. We've got a training area to the side. So a big open plot of land to do with as you wish. From here, we're going to head up the hill, over the main road. I might actually... Whoa, blimey, that's a bump and a half. A bump and a half in every bar. Right. Up onto the road, and then we're going to whiz up to the side here. And this is the ranch sell point. So up on the hill, we have a nice big ranch that overlooks everything. There's a sell point up here. But again, big open area, nice lot of space. This can be purchased as well. So if you wanted to add more sell points in, you absolutely can. If that's your thing, if that's what you want to do, or productions, or whatever it might be, that's the ranch. Now that's all the sell points on the map. That's not all the main features, but that's all the sell points. What we're going to do is whiz back along here and we come to the Spanish Mission, which is always one of those standout features on Ravenport. I remember when all the pre-release stuff was coming out and you were getting screenshots and snippets, and you know, it really kind of stood out. So the Spanish Mission is here. Again, land can be bought. If you want a sell point here where you're delivering stuff to the mission, you're not necessarily allowed to go inside, but you can bring them food and supplies and stuff like that. That would be quite cool. So Spanish Mission is here. Now, what is curious about this? It's one of those interesting things. We come in. Now, I remember on the previous version, there was scaffolding and ladders, and it was kind of being refurbished, not rebuilt necessarily, but just brought back to life. Now, there's no sell points, there's nothing here, but what is curious, if I go into build mode now you go all the way around here, you can't get into the inner, there's a courtyard inside there. And because you can't get in there, that could just be grass. Could be anything, doesn't matter. But when you do look in there, the time and energy taken to making this, I mean, look at it. It's amazing. But you can't actually get in there. And now, I suppose, unless you get a telehandler, climb over the roof and drop in from the other side, but then, without teleporting, you wouldn't be able to get back out. But it's curious, isn't it? I suppose that's one whole big block thing, but it's very cool. So, that's the Spanish Mission. Come back up the gates, and we come over to here. We should be overlooking our start farm. I'm not going to go onto the rocks, because like I said, this was a little bit... You notice that it's a little bit blurry, and you actually slip through them. I didn't want to spoil the illusion. Yeah, it's going to do it anyway, isn't it? Let's get to a vantage point. Again, I can't step out on those rocks. It doesn't... Yeah. It's a little bit blurry in places. It's just, like I say, it's a minor thing, but it is a thing. Let's go up to there. And there's our start farm, just down the bottom of the hill. So we come back to our map from the ranch, out there to the Spanish mission. We're on this ridge line, overlooking the main farm there. And that is the map. That is Ravenport 22 by celobuki. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.